Hi, I'm Beth from Sew Country, and today's tutorial is the second edition of the Debbie pattern by Sally Tomato. In my first tutorial, I did more of a high-end wristlet. I used a faux leather, I used a lot of gold hardware, and it was more designed for something fancy for craft shows or gifts and things of that nature. For this version, I wanted to do it a little bit differently. I wanted to make the pouch using waterproof canvas. I wanted to show a method called French seams so that all your edges will be finished inside. And I wanted this one to be a little bit more practical. This one's still going to be great for gifts and for craft shows, but the purpose of this pouch will be more for cosmetic bags, snack bags, and even wet bags. Using waterproof canvas has several benefits. First off, of course, it's waterproof. Second, it's easily wiped down. You can throw it in the dishwasher or the washing machine also. Since it is a thicker weight than cotton, you don't need to worry about interfacing or anything like that, and you still get a structured, firmer pouch. Since waterproof canvas is known for being a little bit on the cheaper side, it is easier to make a lot of these to sell, give as gifts, and even donate to your local women's shelter without costing you a lot of expense. For these, I'm going to skip a lot of the fancier hardware, and I'm going to use, I'm not going to put grommets in there. I'm even going to attach the wristlet to my zipper pull. Now I'm getting all of the waterproof canvas you see in this video from J&R Edwards. I use them for most of my materials, are quick to ship, and they have lots of sales and discounts in their group a lot. So that is what I'm using for mine, but this is a quick and easy pattern. It's only going to have a few more steps than my first tutorial just to finish up all those seams. So let's get started and let's look at what we need to do this pouch. Let me just show you real quick that the inside seams are indeed finished. No raw edges. So to make the Debbie pouch with waterproof canvas, we're only going to use a few things. We're going to need a zipper. We're going to need our zipper pull. I'm going to use webbing for the wristlet strap. Now you do not need to make this as a wristlet. You can make it as just as a pouch, especially if you're going to be doing this as a snack bag for kids' lunch boxes or as a cosmetic pouch to go inside a bigger makeup bag. You don't need the wristlet. I do like to use wristlets, especially since I'm going to be donating some of these to the women's shelter. I want them to have that option to use it as a wristlet, but I won't be putting a grommet in there for a hole because that may defeat the purpose depending on what they want to use it for. Since I'm making a wristlet strap, I do need a swivel hook. And then for the material itself, I just need the same three pieces. This will be the back. This will be the bottom, and this will be the top. That is all we need to complete this pattern. The first thing I want to do is I want to show you how I do a wristlet. There's so many different ways to do it, and this is just a really quick, simple way. I'm just going to slide on my 1-inch swivel hook right onto my webbing at the end. I'm going to fold the webbing over one time, and then I'm going to take the other edge of that webbing and I'm just going to slide it right into that fold. I'm going to stitch 2 lines to secure it, and that's all I need to do. If you want to use a rivet to secure it, you can, but this is just a quick, easy way to make a wristlet strap if you need one. So I'm going to sew this now. Okay, that wristlet strap is done. I'm going to set this aside. I don't need to use it anymore. And just make sure if you're going to do it my method that you use a zipper pull that is open enough that you can clip your wristlet strap onto. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to orientate the front the way it's going to look whenever I'm done. So this, let's see, I think I want to flip this around. Yes, I like it like this. So this is the way I want mine to look. I'm not going to put on my zipper pull yet because it's easier to sew it without it. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to take that top and I'm going to flip it directly down. If you remember from my last tutorial, I like to keep this raw edge of the waterproof canvas just slightly below the top edge of my zipper tape. In other words, they're not flush. I'm going to have about an 1/8 to a 1/16 of an inch of zipper tape showing while I'm sewing these two pieces together. This is just going to make it so that this edge of my waterproof canvas is covered and it looks neater on the inside. You're encasing the raw edge of your waterproof canvas with your zipper tape. Go ahead and sew these two pieces together with the seam allowance given in the pattern, and then we will flip them up and top stitch. Now that we have these two pieces attached, right sides together, what I'm going to do is I am just going to push that seam allowance down like we always do when we're installing a zipper. So once I push that down, you can look on the back and you can see that the zipper tape will be covering that raw edge of your waterproof canvas. Now I'm just going to top stitch with that seam down to attach the two together so that seam stays down and everything is staying in place. I top stitch an 1/8 of an inch away from that folded edge. Now that it is top stitched, this is what it looks like. I'm going to set it back down and orientate it again the way I originally had it. Now I'm going to take this top piece and flip it directly down onto my bottom. We're going to do everything the same way, except we do need to make sure that we line up our sides of the top with the sides of the bottom. We're still going to make sure when we look from the back that we have a little bit of our zipper tape showing once again. We're just going to sew with that same seam allowance in the pattern the exact same way to attach this zipper to the bottom portion. Now that we have these sewn right sides together, I'm going to open them up and once again flip that seam down and then top stitch an 1/8 of an inch away from that folded edge. Our front is complete. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and attach my zipper pull onto this front. I want my zipper to close to the left, so I'm going to attach the zipper from the right. Now I'm ready to add the back to this bag. The back will always be shorter than your front at this point. That's the way the pattern has it designed. You will always need to trim. Since we're doing this one a little bit differently, in the previous version we sewed these right sides together and then we turned it and we were done. For this one, we're going to go ahead and place them wrong sides together and then we're going to sew them. So this first step, what we'll do is when we look from the back, we can see we need to trim. So we're going to go ahead and trim to make these even, and then we're going to sew them together all around the perimeter with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I went ahead and trimmed up the front to match the back, and I clipped them wrong sides together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around the perimeter of this pouch with a small seam allowance. I'm going to choose to use an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Now once you sew around this, I always go ahead and look at the back and make for sure that everything caught and that I don't need to trim anything up too much. This looks okay, so I'm alright with that. I might trim up just this little corner right here to make it smooth. Now it's time for us to do the French seams. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this bag and turn it wrong sides out. Whenever you're working with waterproof canvas, take your time with the corners. Don't poke too hard or with something sharp, or it could poke through or even create a hole. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this out, and I'm going to, like here at the top, you can see where that seam's trying to roll in. You can push it out with your fingers and either clip or just be okay with rolling it as you go. I'm going to put in a clip or two just to help me while I'm sewing to get that flush. So what I will do now is I'm going to sew again around the perimeter of the bag, but this time I'm going to use a little bit of a larger seam allowance. I used 1/8 of an inch the first time, so this time I'm going to use 1/4 of an inch and make sure that I capture the seams. If you're nervous you won't capture this, if you're nervous you won't be able to encase those seams with 1/4 of an inch, you could go to 3/8 of an inch if you feel better about that. It won't matter with anything except your pouch may be just a teeny bit smaller. You will make sure when you're going on the sides that you're having everything rolled flat and sewing that way. Like, you don't want the sides to be looking like this and sewing it that way. You want it to be flat and sew it this way. So when we sew all the way around, that will encase our seams, and then we will flip it back out and you will see that everything is encased and no raw edges. So let's go around this bag with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. Okay, I sewed all the way around the perimeter of the bag with that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now I'm going to turn everything outside again, right sides out again. You're going to notice that you are going to have a little bit of bulk in your corners, so take your time with poking those out to get a finish that is clean in the corners. Okay, my pouch is complete. Now sometimes they're a little puffy, as you can see. If that bothers you, you can lay a heavy book on it or something else to kind of weigh it down, and so that the the canvas kind of knows which way to lay, and it kind of remembers how to lay flat. The only other thing you'll need to do is to clip on your wristlet strap right on your pull there, and you have your pouch completed. Now these pouches are great for giving as gifts, or for selling at your craft shows, or for even donating to your local charities, your women's shelter and things like that. This can be used for snack bags, cosmetic bags, wet bags, even for in diaper bags and things of that nature. They're super cute, easy to clean. You can just swap them down, throw them in a dishwasher, throw them in a washing machine, whatever you want to do. All the waterproof canvases that you see here are from Jane R. Edwards, as well as the pulls are from Jane R. Edwards. These pulls right here, this one, and this webbing is also from Jane R. Edwards. So if you want any of these items, you can find that link in my description, as well as the pattern. You can find the link for that pattern for the Debbie pattern from Sally Tomato. I'm going to do one more version of this Debbie pattern. The last one will use binding to encase the edges, and it's not in the pattern. It is just a hack that I like, so I'll do that one, and that one will be completely lined. It'll be the only version that is lined, whereas these two were not lined. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helps you. I hope you can use these and enjoy making these as much as I do. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. Also, if you have a pattern that you would like to see me sew or have a tutorial on, just let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day sewing.